everybody, and welcome to this week's production of the Little Guys Home Technology live stream podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Abby, and we're excited to bring you this live stream.
We are podcasting from our Gundo Theater in always sunny Mokina, Illinois. Okay, it's a room in the back of the store, but Tom has converted it into a flexible studio, and that has allowed us to do this. We are fortunate that AudioQuest, Integra, Golden Ear, and Sony have, by the way, 3 companies dedicated to high-performance audio and video, have helped us with this project and allowed us to actually do these podcasts. We want to send a thanks out to them. The Little Guy store is on you.
It's on me. 191st and LaGrange Road in Mokina, where Mokina meets I-80. It's basically 191st and LaGrange Road. You turn east on 191st, and you turn left right again in between the Denny's and the White Castle, down in the valley.
Everybody uses maps, Google Maps, or somebody maps at this point
sure.
anyway. So, and it's Old LaGrange Road.
So Old LaGrange Road runs parallel to LaGrange Road for a short period of time.
And you guys know you can email us anytime at info@thelittleguys.com. Call the store, 708-754-8844, and take advantage of our final days of the moving sale. Because here is your script, Dev.
Am I reading the whole thing?
Sure.
Okay.
We can read it together. Hold on. Put it in the middle.
All right. This Saturday, the 14th of October, is our final day of the moving sale. So we have deep discounted everything in the store. You can save up to 75%.
Take advantage of some crazy pricing on all of the furniture on display. Credenzas, coffee tables, sofa tables, shelving units, and home theater seating, all on sale.
Everything in the entire store on display, including receivers, turntables, cables, headphones, TVs, projection screens, and speakers, have all been drastically reduced.
Save on the best brands in the business, including Klipsch, Golden Ear, SVS, Sony, Sony ES, Salamander, BDI.
Integra, Macintosh, and AudioQuest are just some of the brands on sale.
Best of all, you can trust the Little Guys to professionally install anything you buy.
It's the final days of the Little Guys moving sale at 191st and LaGrange in Mokina, where Mokina meets I-80.
And check out our website for details on our next move, which might be 50 feet at this point.
We might be in part of the new showroom.
But come and check us out, and check us out at thelittleguys.com. All right.
Did you find yourself reading that really fast? Was when we were trying to record the commercial?
We're trying to fit it into 60 seconds.
It had to be 60 seconds.
I guess we could have read it slow. Let's do it again. No.
All
right. So we are very fortunate today that we have Kevin O'Loughlin from Sony here with us to talk about some of the new Sony stuff and some of the new products and things in general. But I want to tell one quick story before we get to it, and it's a Comcast issue.
No, don't tell that story.
Why?
No, I'm kidding.
All right, it's a Comcast issue, and one of our customers had it, and I just want to go over with everybody and say you just got to chill out when you talk to Comcast. You got to relax. It may take 2 calls. The first one might be an hour. And the second one might be 45 minutes, but it's painful. We get it, but they are our necessary evil, and we all need to deal with it. Terry's situation was he wanted NHL Center Ice. He's had NHL Center Ice for the last 5 years, and they sent him a letter telling him that he had, they would automatically renew him, no problem. That's great. He said yes, renew me, put me on NHL Center Ice. So as soon as the free 1 week of NHL Center Ice expired and the season started,
his was gone.
So he calls up Comcast. He's on the phone for over an hour. Back and forth. Why all my other channels work. Everything else is great. Why don't I have NHL Center Ice? This is crazy. Blah blah blah.
It seems like such a simple thing. Like they could just hit the box. Okay, now you have it.
You think?
Yeah.
So they said, well, we hit your box a bunch of times. We did this. We did that. Here's what we have to do. We have to come out and bring you a new cable card for your TiVo box, and we have to replace your old DVR that you have in the living room, which, by the way, is a secondary backup because he really uses TiVo all the time, but he likes having that one old DVR there just because he's used to it and he doesn't mind paying the $15 a month. So, and we're going to replace that with an X1. That's their answer to everything. We're going to replace it with an X1. And he calls me and said, David, I don't want them in my house because I know every time they come here, then you guys have to come afterwards and fix everything and make it work. What do I do? What do I do? So we sent off an email to the Special Ops division of Comcast and explained the situation, told them what was going on. And I get an email back from Special Ops, and the guy says, by the way, there's no NHL Center Ice on his account. that might be why he's not getting it. Would you like me to sign him up? And I said, yes, please sign him up. He only spent an hour on the phone trying to get you to...
So wait, so when you call Comcast, don't they have a computer screen right in front of them? They call up your account, it tells them everything about it, and then they could have said, sir, you don't have...
And we're picking on Comcast. I got to tell you, DirecTV is just as bad. AT&T, they're all bad. That's just the way they are. Just get used to it. You can't get little guy service from the service providers. They just don't do it. That's how they are. I mean, you're used to calling us and getting a quick answer, or we look it up and we research the manual and we get you back the details. That's not going to happen. You're going to be frustrated. Unless you get really, really lucky, you're going to be a little bit frustrated. But get through it. Because they have the best internet speeds, they have great programming. It's worth it in the end. Just you got to deal with it as time goes on. So I just want to say at the end of the day, they are a necessary evil. We need Comcast for their unbelievable internet speeds. We need to deal with it, and life goes on. So, all right, that was my Comcast.
It's odd. So I mean, the whole thing boiled down to he thought he had center ice.
He did. They told him he did.
They told him he had center ice, but he didn't have center ice.
Right. That's it. All right. So at the recent CEDIA show, Kev, we were all kind of blown away because Sony showed something that we actually didn't anticipate. We knew they had the best looking 4K projector at $10,000.
Yes.
And once in a while on sale for $8,000. But we knew they had that projector at that price point. And of course they had the best one at $15,000 and $25,000 and $50,000 and going up. But they kind of blew us away with a even better 4K projector, a true 4K projector it's $8,000 at $8,000, right? The
$385.
The $285.
VP.
$385.
$385 is $8,000.
Right.
But I think the really exciting news was its little brother, the $285. At $5,000 retail, and it is native. And you said true 4K. That's a key part of this. Is a native 4K resolution chip in that projector.
So you're actually watching 4K in 4K. It's not a 4K stream that's down-resed to be 4K-ish, or call it whatever you want. There's a million different little names out.
E-Shift is one of the things.
There's a million little names out there for it.
Enabled is
this is truly 4K,
correct.
And it blew us all away. I mean, it really looks good.
Yeah, the video. Well, video is something. And by the way, I have no idea what you're talking about with Comcast and large companies and bureaucratic processes. So
I've never experienced that.
We do a lot of. We make a good video picture at Sony. The video circuitry in that is all Sony made. That's our video engineers, made in Japan. This X1 Extreme processing chip that's in the step-up televisions. That technology is built into this here. So we've done 4K this is our 10th or 11th generation of a 4K product. Everything from the digital cinema projectors that are $250,000 that when you go to the cinema, if you're watching SXRD, that's a Sony digital cinema. That same factory, those same engineers are making our full line of projectors as well.
It's just awesome because the choice before was if you really want a 4K projector, it's $10,000,
right.
Or you settle for this E-Shift stuff, or in our case, we sort of liked the non-E-Shift, just really good. 1080p projectors,
right.
Because the key, I think, to all of this video stuff is not lumens. It's not lots of other little numbers. The truth is, it's video processing. I don't think there's anything more important than the video processing part of it. And the extreme chips, X1, and even the regular video processing in the Sony more basic level televisions. That's the key. That's why the picture looks better. That's why that sharpness and that detail and the color accuracy. I mean, that's it, right? I mean, it's video processing. It's not numbers.
Right. And now we're talking, it's even more critical, one, to start with native resolution of 4K, but you're blowing up that image, right? So a 32-inch the difference between a good 32-inch and a bad 32-inch is it's difficult to see. It's a compact size. But as you go to larger panels, and now you're talking about 100, 150, 180-inch screen, it's critical that you have that video processing because everything is magnified. The good is magnified, and sometimes the bad is magnified, depending on the projector and what kind of processing they're doing. So starting with native resolution and then putting all of the circuitry on it, and knowing video and knowing the history of video and patterns and making it look good, especially in watching sports and 4K native content, which is becoming more and more of. Now we're shipping a 4K Blu-ray player, so there's more and more content. It's really critical as you get bigger that you have that 4K.
And we all know about the shift to bigger TVs. We've talked about that a million times on the podcast. But the difference, we see the difference in the production of live sporting events. When the center field camera is zoomed all the way out to show you a shot behind home plate, you can see that it's just not. It's still good, but it's not nearly as good as that side camera coming in, or the center, same camera but zoomed in on the center fielder, right? So depending on what they're showing and how they're using it, you can see some of the video differences in performance. I see it in basketball games or football games. You see it when they close focus on a player or when they're showing the whole court. You can see the differences, and it's amazing. I'm so excited that there's a $5,000 projector that performs at this level. It's huge. It's totally huge. You also happen to have the best under $3,000 projector around in the 45 ES. Is
$2,000. We make great 1080 projectors, and again, you said too, someone who has a budget and just wants that big screen experience, but maybe doesn't want to step up to that $5,000 price point. It's a phenomenal picture.
It really is, and even with the lights on in the vignette that we had it set up in, you could have the lights on, and the people were blown. We had it on a 120-inch screen. We put it on a big screen on purpose, and people were still blown away that they could watch it during the day.
Right.
With the lights on and still see it, watch it easily. Of course, as you kill ambient light around it, it gets better and better and better.
Right.
But just truly awesome.
There's still a common perception out there that projectors, are these dim things that, from years ago. But the progression that we've made and the evolution of it now, especially in 4K, you can get a big screen experience that people walk in thinking it's a panel.
Yeah.
It's really impressive. You can sit closer now because of the pixel structure of 4K. It's got 4 times the resolution of high def. You can sit closer so you could put a bigger screen in a smaller room, or just have a bigger screen than you typically would feel comfortable with a 2K.
You guys fooled Evie at CES. She walked in, and the short throw, it's at the 1000.
Yep.
The short throw laser projector.
Yep.
Onto a 100-inch screen.
A screen on the wall, and I
thought it was a 100-inch panel.
A little later, somebody said, "So how did you like the new projector?" I just said, "What projector?"
Yep.
I said, "I thought it was a panel on the wall. I had no idea that the projector was built conveniently into a salamander cabinet."
Exactly. I don't know if you've talked about it before, but that's the VPL VZ1000 ES. It is a projector, but a really interesting segment that we're going to see more and more of. The projector guys want to capture the living room as well, and the TV guys have it right now, so they're going to come up with more and more products like this. At $25,000, it's very much a premium, but for someone that doesn't want that big black box projector hanging in the ceiling in the back of their room, or maybe they do a lot of karaoke or Wii, and if you stand in front of a projector, your shadow is going to be on that screen. Now you don't have that. If you want it to disappear, from a aesthetic standpoint, Salamander makes this beautiful cabinet in 3 different finishes.
Yep.
The projector goes in, and it literally looks like a 100 to 120 inch panel hanging on the floor.
It's killer.
Today to buy a 100-inch Sony LCD TV, $60,000. So for half that, you can have.
It's really cool technology, and the projector thing is just getting more and more and more and more popular, and we love it. We love, obviously, personally, us at home, we have a monster. We have a 155-inch screen that we watch TV on every day.
Still not big enough.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of people's perception is that a projector is for a dark room to watch a movie occasionally.
Right.
I mean, that's our TV. We use it all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's no reason you can't. The other misconception people have is that these presentation projectors that people have been using to do PowerPoints and conferences for businesses and those kind of things, those presentation projectors are good enough for video, and truly they aren't. They're not the right thing to show movies or to watch television on. That the movement part isn't as good, the video processing isn't as good that we were just talking about.
Right.
They're designed to do something different. And it's not a matter of just dollars and cents, because there are presentation projectors that are many thousands of dollars or whatever that just wouldn't be as good as using these projectors that are designed specifically so you can have theater in your home.
And we're a great example of that. We have a huge commercial projector division. Same factory makes them, but there's actually different guys. The home theater projectors are built from the ground up for video. The commercial projectors are built for data, and they keep them separate. There's no overlap at all. So it's really all about the video quality.
That's really cool.
In home theater.
All right, so let's because we don't have a million hours here. Let's also talk about some other stuff that's exciting for us. We've been a Sony ES dealer since we opened, actually.
Yes.
And we've seen the evolution of the Sony ES receivers. I want to say there was a little lull there in the early 2000s that the product maybe wasn't as competitive or didn't have as cool of features or didn't have the stuff. And I think the makeup for that over the last 10 or 15 years is to be ahead of the curve and to actually have more of the things that you want on a receiver. And today's ES receivers hit really good price points and sound really good. They never given up the Michael P. Smith. They've never given up the sound perspective.
Right. Yep.
His legend lives on.
Right. To me, that's critical. We love the way the Sonys are built. I mean, the bonus is the 5-year warranty, parts and labor.
Right.
A company that stands behind the product 100%. Frankly, they don't break. They're really, really reliable. I can't remember the last time we had one that had an issue at all. But now they are feature filled. I love how they and you can look online at the Sony STR ZA 2100, 3100 receiver and beyond. And there's a panel that covers all the buttons, so that truthfully, when you walk up to it, nobody's touching the wrong thing.
Right.
I mean, everybody does everything from the remote. But when people walk up and they see all the buttons, they feel like they need to push buttons. They're just gone and out of the way or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
yep. Oh no, it's we learned a lot of lessons. You mentioned there were some tough years, but the last 5 years, the focus has really been on the specialty channel of the receiver. We make a lot of receivers that start at $199. They're not ES. They don't have the 5-year warranty. But when you get into ES, you kind of get into something special. But the biggest, again, we talk about misperceptions with projectors, the sound quality. People like, yeah, you know what? I listened to a Sony receiver years ago, and they're blown away by it. And we do a lot of like blind comparisons, and guys that swear they know, identify the better sounding receiver as the Sony, and they're usually really surprised by it.
I remember the one of the demos they did with they had the big fancy amps and preamps and stuff set up in this rack, and they had the Sony ES receiver in the bottom of it, and they were running speakers that are extremely difficult to run in surround sound.
Yeah.
I mean, very difficult, very tough speakers to operate, and they played the system and asked everybody how did you feel about that? What was, and everybody was blown away. It sounds amazing. It's incredible. And the separates weren't hooked up.
Right.
It was a Sony ES receiver running this extremely complicated speaker system and demanding speaker system that in the past you would have had to have amps and separate amps and preamps and doing it that way. Now that doesn't mean that you can't still get a separate amp and preamp, but the fact is the receivers in today's world are just they're amazing.
We've got a rich history in audio, which we don't get a lot of credit for, from the invention of the CD player. But the best example I have is almost every motion picture you watch today was mastered at a Sony studios out in Culver City. We've got a couple of recording sound lots there that not just Sony Pictures, but Universal and MGM. So the engineers work with those folks a lot too. So there's a lot of history and quality that are built into the receivers.
I remember when 3D first came out. Glad that's kind of in the past, but I remember when 3D first came out.
Rest in peace.
We were at Sony Studios, and they were doing a class for us. And in the class were engineers and designers from the other production companies.
Right.
They're in the class with us, learning from your guys what to do and what not to do. And they showed us, separating images and why if you're when there's multiple images, if they're too far apart, you give the person a little bit of a headache trying to focus on them, and if they're closer together, they look really, really cool. So, you guys train these other people in what it is. We often talk to customers about what generation of technology you guys are on, and you're right. It's easy to get caught up in the video thing. It's easy to get caught up in our picture's good and our the motions become basically irrelevant on a television set. But the audio is still It's the heart. It's the part that creates the emotion, and it's the fun and the excitement and the fear. And you guys do a great job of that with the ES receivers.
And they work well with others. For years, we kind of, the receiver guys think they're the center of the universe and that everything goes through the receiver. That world has changed, and now everything exists on a network. They're controlled by a variety of different third-party control companies, so they have to integrate really well to make your guys' job easier, your customers' experience better, too. So we've learned a lot. We worked with Control 4 for years. We actually had a controller built in there.
Remember?
The engineers learned a lot about integration and working well with anything from
and
universal.
what's more important than that in today's, obviously sound is number one, and then being able to integrate with your control system,
right,
so that it's essentially flawless to operate, so that it just does what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it.
Right.
We had an experience with the Sony guys the other day. There was an update done from Comcast, and one of the receivers, which was on the network, one of the receivers dropped off the network, and we called Sony to talk about it, and they explained to us what caused it. They said, Comcast did an update. We know what caused it, and then they were able to adjust or fix the receivers so that it didn't happen again. Through the network thing or whatever, we were able to do settings so that it didn't happen again. In years past, that would have been really difficult.
Right.
That would have been really, really difficult.
Yeah. It's a true network device. There's that button on the front of it. Again, we don't want. I mean, that's one of the reasons we put that panel in front of there, because you can only touch power and volume. Those are the only two things we typically want the end user to not have to deal with anything else. But there's a ping button. You hit that, and it'll give you its IP address on the network. You can actually address that from a phone or a tablet, change settings and all that. So it's like our phones are smart. These receivers are actually very smart.
Really, really cool. Really cool. Sony does a million different things, and sometimes there's the impression in the marketplace that Sony's the big giant corporate guys, and how could they possibly focus on great sound, or what do they care about great video? Or, I mean, they're focused on making money. That's all. That's all that matters. And of course, making money is important. Nobody's denying that. Nobody would ever say anything any different. But their focus has become more high performance oriented. I mean, the video stuff. You're focused on the hype. You're not worried about making a 26-inch TV and a 32-inch TV. It's not that there isn't one or whatever, but the focus is on high performance. The focus really is on durability and reliability, and not worrying about making the absolute cheapest 32-inch TV in the world, without regard for quality of picture. We saw at the show there was a 100-inch panel, and they were talking about how, look at this 100-inch panel. It's blah blah blah. It's going to be $10,000. And I looked at it and I said, I don't want to watch this thing if it's $1,000. It's horrible.
Yeah, it was
the
terrible.
colors were terrible.
Right.
The image was fuzzy. And this is the one that they tweaked for the show.
Right.
I mean, what am I going to get in the box?
Yeah.
In a production model, what's that going to look like? I mean, it was really brutal. I mean, it was awful. And I love the fact that Sony's focused on high performance and giving the customer value, but at a high performance level. I mean, I think that's really the key. And of course, there's still 5 series of TVs or whatever, because we're trying to hit price points.
Sure.
But not getting into the very lowest, cheapest, without regard for performance. And that's an exciting thing about Sony in today's world, for sure.
Right. And if you look at our line too, we're not in any of the entry level series. Everything's pretty much 4K, native 4K panels, and the XBR brand has been around for years, and that means quality. So we have more SKUs than we used to, but not as many as say 5 years ago, because we were trying to be a lot of things to a lot of different people. Now we're kind of focused on the premium.
So on the high performance video level, let's talk for a few minutes about the great debate, which has caused many arguments in the store, many discussions.
They're
OLED,
both so good.
right? OLED versus the Z series, and to me, it's which Ferrari do you want to drive? But which one do you want? They're both great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what you like, and often that's how we'll present it at the end after explaining the differences. We'll leave that to the customer to make that choice. But Sony has entered into the OLED world.
Yep. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. So it's exciting because we
You
wanted to
invented
make
it, right?
we wanted to make sure it was right for, again, our video to process an OLED panel is different than an LCD panel there. So we were finally ready. We felt with this X1 Extreme processing chip, and that's Sony's own. So all the video circuitry in that is ours. As for the debate, and it's three different screen sizes: 55, 65, and 77 inch. It's a tough call. It really really depends on the customer. There's really no wrong choice there. It depends on the room. So if you have a lot of high ambient light, the Z9 series is probably I believe it's the brightest television in the industry. The dynamic range on it and color fidelity is really amazing. OLED offers some differences too. If you really like the deep blacks, if you had a plasma from a few years ago, you'll get that replication in the black level in OLED. It's self-emitting. All the diodes are self-illuminating, so the off-axis viewing is excellent.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All LCDs are going to have some type of shift as you walk from side to side. You don't get that with OLED, and for some rooms, that's critical. But if you can control the lighting, you've got low ambient light, and the OLEDs are really nice looking. And looking at the set from straight on, literally looks like a sheet of glass.
It does.
The picture goes right really to the end there. So cosmetically, there's that unique.
We finally put because as we're going through this moving sale and moving things around and emptying rooms and stuff, we finally put a Z series directly next to the both 65s or whatever, and Tom loves the Z series.
He likes the Z series.
He came back from a thing with your guys, with your engineers and stuff, and said we need to set ours correctly. It's not set correctly, which is why nobody was overly impressed with the way it looked. I mean, we all thought it looked good, but it wasn't as good as I had remembered seeing it at a show and that kind of thing. And he said we got to get the settings correct, and we went back in and made some adjustments, probably no more than 20 minutes to a half hour of just tweaking and adjusting. And now with the two next to each other, there's definitely a difference. I mean, there's a difference in the two images. I don't think I could certainly live with either one. They're both great. And that's what people are deciding. Ev likes the OLED sets. She thinks she loves that black level, that plasma.
Plus, I was a big plasma fan.
Right.
And yet the Z is certainly 1,000 times acceptable.
Right.
It's just that OLED has a little bit. And why am I saying OLED? I don't agree. It's not a word.
It just flows. I highly recommend your customers buy both and continue the debate at home, going back and forth. And that's the thing. There is no wrong choice.
Yeah.
And once you take it home, you've got yourself a beautiful television
Now,
set.
in the bigger size, when you go beyond 65, when you go to a 77-inch OLED, starting Sunday, the Sony 77 inch is going to be 15,000.
Correct.
Right. And the 65 inch is right under 4.
Right.
So it's like $39.99.
Yep.
So there's a huge jump. The Z series, the 75 is it $79.99? I think it's
it's going to $69.
$69.99.
It may even be going.
So it's not as huge a jump.
So there's not as huge a jump. So if you want a 75, you should for sure not eliminate the Z series as an option because it's half the price. It's less than half the price, and and frankly, it looks amazing.
It's phenomenal.
It really is amazing. It is 3D like. It is just watching a show. It's like you can when they're doing one of those cooking shows, you feel like you can reach in and grab something and check it out or whatever. I mean, it's that realistic.
And I don't know if I'm technical. I don't want to get there. The backlighting system on that is unlike anything else in the market too. There are hundreds, even more, of LED backlit. So typically in LCD, you can do edge lit. So you've got a white LED bulb basically. You can do top lit, bottom lit. Really up till now, the best has been full array backlit, and you've got zones behind the screen that you can control. So picture a zone of say 16 zones. You can turn one off, turn one on. So that helps, and that gives you that dynamic range and that contrast. That gives you that 3D kind of depth to it. With the Z9 series, you've got hundreds and hundreds of these micro LEDs that we can individually, discreetly control. So if you've got a super bright scene with a super dark scene, it's really difficult to do in a conventional LCD. This allows you to do that. And
that's what I love about that. I think for me that. When I'm watching a movie, especially TV shows once in a while, but mostly movies. If you're watching a movie and you have that dark scene, the Spider-Man movies or the Batman movies, or you're in those dark movies, and I mean dark images. When you're into those movies, you can see the detail in it. If they're wearing a black suit and it's crushed velvet, you can see that stuff in it even better than you do on an OLED set. It's still really good on OLED. But it's even better on the Z series or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, it really
keeping
is.
the detail while having that contrast.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's difficult to do.
So we've talked about it a million times. Sony and the little guys have always had a great relationship. Sony's always taking care of us and taking care of our customers, and made sure that we were always treated like the big guys. To be honest,
that is true.
We've interacted with generations almost of people through the company, and Chicago used to be one of the headquarters, and people would, as they worked their way up the corporate ladder, started at the sales rep level or the stuffing literature level and worked their way up. Always came through the little guys, and even before that through Musicraft, and we get to know everybody. Anybody out there with the impression that Sony is still that big corporate, kind of entity, they're big and they're corporate,
They
but they're
could crush you.
right. But they truly are. They truly are good people. They're people that care. They're people that want to do the right thing, and that want people to be able to experience things as they should. And when it comes to audio and video, and frankly, high-res music as well. We didn't even get into that, but high-res music as well. So we invite everybody to always, when you're at the Little Guy, stop in, take a look, experience it the way it's supposed to be experienced. Whether you're watching real TV instead of a computer-generated image, watch Comcast, watch Dish Network, watch an over-the-air channel being broadcast. Lots of other cool features, and we didn't get into all of them, but we're going to run short on time, so I don't want to bog everyone down with every little detail. Anything else from Sony we should pay attention to real quick?
No, we're looking forward to the holiday season coming in. We good inventory, which is sometimes with a popular product. So that's there. We just launched the projectors, as we talked about as well. But we're looking forward to a strong season.
So we want to thank Kevin for coming in and spending time with us. We want to remind everybody the moving sale. Saturday is the actual last day of the moving sale. So you got today, and you got tomorrow. And we'll still be here after that. Tomorrow. In some form. We'll still be here, whether you come in the front door or the side door, whether you hit a buzzer to come in the front door. We'll be here for a little while. We're going to work out the details of that. You can check our website, thelittleguys.com. We'll give an explanation of how we're going to do it and what we're going to do. We're still landlord deprived. We still don't know.
We have a landlord. He just
we're deprived on information and communication, evidently. I mean, it's unbelievable what we've been going through with these guys, and we can't give people an answer, and it's frustrating for us. But
right, and we have to sound like whack jobs, too. So, we still don't know. We think we're going to be in the back, but we still don't know.
The phone number will be the same, 708-754-8844, info@thelittleguys.com. Always check thelittleguys.com. Please like us on Facebook, right?
Sure.
So today, 10 to 5, tomorrow, 10 to 5, and obviously Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, you want to stop in. We'll make sure you get
And if you can't make it into the store, just give us a call, 708-754-8844, and David will take you through everything that's left, and he'll give you all the advice you need.
That's no problem. I'm happy to do it.
He's been doing it all day.
I've been doing it all day. I've been in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Phoenix, Arizona, Melrose Park, and Winnetka. Those are the 4 calls that took some time this morning, as well as some people coming in doing the same thing, family shopping. So it was great. I loved it. All right, we are grateful to Sony, Integra, Golden Ear, and AudioQuest for helping us do this podcast and for getting us the equipment and making it all possible. To Tom, who created the studio, and the rest, we thank everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
We'll talk to you next week.
We are out here. Thanks, Kev.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.